Hey, this is Heather with Manifesting Naturally. So glad to finally have this YouTube channel going. Really excited to have you here. We are going to talk about law of assumption and manifesting. It is a lifestyle, right? It is fantastic. It is life-changing. I'm so excited about it. I could talk about it all the time, and I do. And we're going to learn, and we're going to level the fuck up, and we're going to do some mystical, magical shit up in here, too. Just like my favorite mystic, Neville Goddard. My most favorite reindeer of all. So, you know what? Please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification, because we're going to do lives up here. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. And you manifested me, so you kind of have to. Okay, so here we are back. And we're going to go into chapter 2 of Neville's powerful little book, I Know My Father. It sums up everything, and it cuts out a ton of biblical stuff. But you can't cut out all of the biblical stuff completely, because at the end of the day, you have to understand this. It is not religion. Again, it is not religion. It is not religion. There was a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation. The Bible got confused. And what was meant to be a story of us, of our mentality, of our existence, of what and who we are, speaking to our mind and our mental state, explaining that life is literally imaginary. Okay, we live in a lucid dream, a play. And I get that that can be difficult. And that's why I am choosing this book, because it's focusing on consciousness and awareness. But yet it gives the same end of the story, the same moral of the story. Which, guys, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same. I hope you're getting closer to accepting one or the other. I literally never thought I'd be in a public forum saying, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior? But hilarious as that is to me, it's also because I know very well, even without major religious trauma personally, I still have beliefs about it. It's still in the air we breathe. And I'm not a big fan of it. It sounds just more absurd to me to sit there and say that. But it is our Savior. And all of these things make sense when you're thinking about them in a mental way. The kingdom of heaven is within. There's only one sin, which is to not know that you are this creator, that you are God. And so it doesn't matter in terms of not feeling good enough, or feeling maybe you've done things in your life in the past. That's thinking about it in a religious way. He's telling you that the only sin is that you are off the mark. And what do we think of in life when it comes to sinning and stuff? If you sin, you go to hell. Don't we? If we're off the mark and we're not acknowledging and we don't accept that our I amness and awareness can change things that we think have been happening to us and bring it back to us being the cause, and then us having the luck to change that. This is a gift. Accept it and then use it. Okay, now that I'm over that, I just really want you to be able to start creating, and until you really start understanding that this is literal. All right, guys, you are at cause, and it is a good thing. It's a good thing. You found out good news. All right, so let's get into it. Before you can enter into the peace which passeth all understanding, you must first be slain of all the illusions that now enslave you, the illusions of division. There is no division. There is no separation. That's how everyone is. You pushed out. That's how this whole, how do you think people hear you? It's you. It's actually the entire vast world. So your money, your vehicle, your job, your everything, your health. All right? So it's all one. It's all just a personification of what your concept is. So we're going to get into that. If you are identified with race, creed, or color, and hear that which you are identified criticized and condemned, you will automatically hurt by such criticism. Every attachment is a bar in your self-created prison. Your only escape lies in non-attachment. You must leave all and follow me. In Christ, there is neither Greek nor Jew, bond nor free. Your present attachments are rooted in you because of your present conception of yourself. Your conception of yourself is the measuring rod by which you measure the world. So, what does that mean? It means that what I think of myself is what is going to then show up. And now I am going to be looking at those others and measuring them based on me, based on my own ideas. Do I like them or do I not? And then I'm going to judge them. I don't know this. You do now, but we didn't. That's why this is an amazing thing to be here. I'm going to say this every video. I'm glad you are here. However you're choosing to learn about Neville, at the bottom line is you're choosing to learn about Neville. You will get this. You will. You have to. You're manifesting more and more information. You're processing it more. You're understanding more. You're persisting more. You're getting it. You're having moments. I know. And it gets more and more amazing for all of us. Trust me, getting a good wrap around it. It's just the beginning. This is going to be repetitive because it is repetitive. It is the same story, but it just is going to hit on a couple different marks. All things are judged in relationship to your present conception of yourself. Every man's conception of himself is a vibrant note in the cosmic symphony, which note automatically determines the value of all notes in relation to itself. Change your conception of yourself, revalue yourself, and you will automatically change your world. Man has always played the losing game by attempting to change his world while he himself remained with his present values or conceptions of himself. And that is the whole point of it doesn't matter how many talks you've had. It doesn't matter. That's why you see these patterns. That's why I have a conversation with someone about, I want respect her. I want trust her. I want this. You could go tell your boss you want more money, you want to not be broke and work 3 jobs. The one thing that also is hard, I think, is a lot of our morals have come from this, right? Like you want to just turn your back to things that you don't want to let them die because we know it's about attention and focus. We feel like is a natural, like, moral set, right? It's always been seen as honorable, like someone goes to school and gets these degrees or works 3 jobs, like what's going on in the world, or some people start out so far ahead and it's not right. That's not the case, though. It's not. I know it feels hard, believe me. That's why I had to leave. I was halfway through this graduate degree in social work. Honestly, I just felt like part of the problem because I'm keeping that alive and well. For me, I had to make a choice. This is the solution. This is a way to actually take what I wanted to do, which is help people and empower people, and do it in an amazing, incredible way that actually will, while not adding to the problem, because it goes against what we think. But that's, again, the whole point of this, right? It's bizarro world. We're living in bizarro world. So give yourself a break if you are having a hard time wrapping your brain around all the concepts. You're going to learn and grow and learn and grow. That is going to be a lifelong journey. Okay, so let's get back to Neville. Jesus discovered this law. So instead of changing men, he changed himself. He said, "And now I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through the truth." He found himself to be the truth of all that he saw in his world. Truth is the sword that slays all but itself. And I am, your awareness, is the truth. Therefore, to be identified with anything other than being is to be enslaved or limited by that which you are identified. You eternally objectify that which you are conscious of being. So you forever move in a world that is the perfect personification of that which you know yourself to be. So nothing is going to change that. Only self to change. To the pure, all things are pure. This is a great hurdle to those who are constantly condemning the world. There is therefore no condemnation to those in Christ Jesus. This is familiar, right? How about this? It is recorded that the crowds left Jesus when he revealed the working of the law in these words: "No man cometh unto me, save the Father in me draw him, and I and my Father are one." They could not believe that they were the cause of all they saw their world to be. After thousands of years, it is still the great stumbling block to all who see the world as something to be changed on the outside. So if your Father, let's listen to that, because that's said a lot. "No man cometh unto me, save the Father in me draw him, and I and my Father are one." The subjective consciousness that's just sitting in wait for you to persist in a narrative and a dialogue and tell it your story. So now that's where some discipline comes in. That's where some accepting this first and foremost. Because if I don't even believe I am that, how am I going to believe I have the power to do it? And then how am I going to hang on there when I have to get through things in this 3D world that have some lag time? Where's my faith going to come from? And I'm going to wind up being robbed. So every single time, in every single area of life, anything that comes to us, whether that's love, whether that's being mistreated in love, whether that's having money, having health, it does not come to me unless my Father calls them. And my Father and I are one. And my Father will form into exactly what I basing my self-concept on, and then that is what I will eternally exist in, a world that is the personification of that. That is also a state. And that's why the states have everything in them to express themselves. A state of mind expresses itself because it's just the I am, that's pureness, that's occupying that. You and your conception of yourself are one. Your conception of yourself is the image that you have made of your Father. This image fashions your world in your likeness, be it good, bad, or indifferent. Your Father is awareness who limits you to that which you are aware of being. If I believe that I am anything, if I believe that I am untouchable, that life is easy for me, that I skate by, that everyone loves me, everyone wants to hear from me, everybody values me, everybody always tells me everything, everyone trusts me, I always have money. It's like an endless thing. I enjoy life's luxuries. That's the life I live. It's carefree. I'm pain-free. I'm comfortable. I'm healthy. I'm thriving. I'm surrounded by love and friends and commitment, and God, I can trust everyone, and I'm loving and kind, and these are the things I think for real about myself, honestly. It's going to show up. And if I don't think that, I can look around and see where am I not happy? Where am I seeing these things showing up? And then I can just switch my awareness. And this is what we're going to get into here in another minute about the way to do that. That's what's so incredible about taking the time to invest. Neville Goddard breaks it down. That's why I am such a Neville fan. It is a one-stop shop. He packages it, he deciphers it, he explains it. He has spoken about it passionately for decades of his life. It is a gift he's giving you. He has testimonials of his own. It offers you the passages, the places to find comfort, to find things that can help you along this journey, as opposed to just jumping in here into the social media manifesting world or whatever, finding someone looking for get your stuff in 24 hours and do this overnight and say this little thing and sit in your car and point at your... I saw a TikTok last night where the girl was saying, here's a magic thing that's going to get you your text and call from your SP by the next day. I swear this works all the time. You sit in your car and you imagine them walking, and then you call their name and you point at their forehead and with your finger on your forehead. Guys, please spare yourself. Come for the SB, stay for the lifestyle, stay for the mindset. This is going to empower you your whole life. So be proud of yourself. You're here. You are doing that. And as you go forward, piecemeal it. And that's fine. And that's why I'm trying to start with this. Remember, imagination and mind is reality. 3D life's false assumptions that we're persisted in. So doesn't that give you a thrill? The falseness of it is good. Good. Keep that definition in mind next time you feel like, oh, this feels good. Yeah, delusional. It says false assumptions. Okay, back to Neville's work. You are not what you are because of anything in this world. On the contrary, the world is what it is because of what you are. The what being the measure or value you have placed upon yourself. In short, your conception of yourself is the mold the conceiver, your true self, uses to people your world. Begin to transform the world by claiming yourself to be that which you desire to see expressed in the world. Follow the example of Jesus, who made himself one with God and found it not strange or robbery to do the work of God. So God is forming and becoming. And when Jesus realized, oh, if I form and become, then I will see that. Right? He found it not strange to create from his own image. He found it not strange for him to take on the form. Do the same thing. Take on the form of what you want to create. And you do that consciously. That's conscious creating. This is truly important, okay? Freedom is not won by the sweat of the brow. Stop wrestling with the world. It is only a reflector. This is where we say, you don't have to react. There are no circumstances. They don't exist. There is no one to have these talks with, have these big debates with. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You go within. You go within. But if you do react, guess what? It means nothing at all. That's why there are no circumstances. Because the moment that I switch myself, the Father is going to take on that form and people the world. They're going to show back up. I'm going to see it differently. And the best way to do this is to go into love. I'm telling you firsthand, you cannot lose, because at the core of it all, that is what creation is. It is love. But we wouldn't know love if we didn't know pain or hate or indifference or anything like that. So that's why nothing is bad or good. That's why you don't want to judge your emotions. They're part of the 3D experience, right? Why do you think this law exists? In other Neville writings, he talks about it as we were given this law as a buffer, because the reason that this is happening is for expansion. Yes, consciousness and creation are done, but we can rearrange it. It's like the dictionary, right? There may be, let's say every word is ever written. But think of how many stories or how many songs or words or poems or conversations you can have by using the words in different arrangements. The law is that because we want expansion, that's why we're here in a 3D body, in the 3D realm. Why would consciousness purposely imagine itself into being? Before there was Abraham, there was I am. Why would consciousness, why would God manifest himself into human, into man, as a 3D sensory suit where we have all touch, feel, and all that stuff? Because as lovely as it is, as reassuring, as powerful, as empowering, as freeing, as safe as it can make us, knowing in our mind, the minute we become something, it is. I used to try to imagine different realms or a different parallel universe, so to speak, where there's a 3D version of me who's existing, living all these different endless possibilities. I didn't realize that it was in my mind. So I can make a list of literally thousands of scenarios of what I'm doing. Everything you can think of, I can put myself in that place. It used to be like, oh, I just wish I could just switch over into that place where that was me. It would just be so blissful because it would just happen instantly and I would feel all that bliss. But the bliss is here in the 3D because we do live in the 4D. That is reality. But it's flat, right? It's flat. It's, like I said, it offers a lot. It brings a lot. And it can give us relief and peace and all that. And that's exciting. But it's our senses that are what makes it intoxicating, delicious, the smell, the touches, the taste, right? If I were an engineer building an amusement park, on paper, that's not fun. I want to ride the ride. If I'm a chef and I want to make this delicious meal, I want to smell it. I want to touch it. I want to feel the texture. I want to cook it. I want to taste it. I want to feel it in my mouth, chew it. I want to share it with other people. A recipe on a card isn't as fun. I want to, same thing with people and thinking about someone and knowing that your relationship is great and comforting, but touching them, smelling them, holding them, hearing them say things to you that you want, saying things back to them, making them smile. That is delicious, right, in and of itself. So our senses, this 3D sensory, the trade-off, and the trade-off is you get it instantly. You can shift into any realm. You can start simply telling the story. It's about thoughts. Just simply thoughts. What is the story I'm telling? And if I'm not sure of it, I can look around and just say, okay, I must be telling this story. But it's not just one simple story. And that's why I also have you do this simple little sats, right? Like, not only does Neville come with an explanation of the Bible and all that, it also comes with simple instructions on how to get started. We start to our mind, and it will produce pictures, what we want, our imagination, our subconscious. It's the one that's driving everything around. And it's what holds on to the awarenesses. It's really powerful. Simple little scenes that make you feel it like you were there. That help impress your mind that this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what it feels like. It helps us bridge that gap as we're trying to begin from over here to over there. Also, it's a nice thing to do. It feels good to get lost in a nice scene. The difference between daydreams and, like Neville says, there's a lot of constructing and not a lot of occupying of these states and of these, concepts, is when you get up, you carry it like a fragrance. What does that mean? You just walking it. And then use this to go back and say, you know what? Because I've accepted I'm God, because I've accepted this premise, I'm going to think about scenes. I'm going to go there. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to give it to myself. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to talk to myself. I'm going to have conversations with people. I'm going to catch myself. And I know it's safe to do. And as I have to walk through the 3D world of the dead, world of just false assumptions, and so I'm just building my own false assumption, and it will be a fact just as much. And I can also just denounce this by taking my attention away and deciding it's not true. So the law exists for expansion. The law exists so that we can take responsibility. It empowers us. And again, it's because we want to be here in 3D to experience it. So you are in parallel universes, but you're here. Believe me, this is where the fun is happening. And in your mind, you just get to go as crazy as you want. All right, let's get back to the freedom is not won by the sweat of the brow. Stop wrestling with the world. It is only a reflector. Jacob was freed only as he loosed that with which he wrestled. Likewise, you will be free only as you follow his example and loose your problems by not identifying yourself with it. For that which is bound in heaven, consciousness, is bound on earth, and that which is loosed in heaven is loosed on earth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I am the truth. So in reality, to know yourself, the conditioned is to be free from that which in your blindness you believed yourself to be. Leave all and just be me. You don't have to fight with your logic. It's a false assumption, though persisted in, hardened into fact. That's what your whole life is. And look at some of the things that exist. Some are amazing and miraculous, and some are like, what? That's why you are told a trillion times, stop telling the old story. Where does this come in with SPs and 3Ps? If you are sitting there saying, I need an apology, I want this, they're a narcissist, I've gotten, my self-concept is so much better that now I don't even want them anymore. They were this, they were that. By still looking at them and condemning, wanting an apology, or judging the way they're coming in, or they do come back, or talking about these 3Ps, or even people who say, wish the 3P well. That's an indicator that you're not grasping what this means. Please do not think that I am trying to say that you have to be perfect. If you aren't, you're not going to get what you want. You are. It takes a lot less than you think, which is the irony here. It takes a lot less. This is supposed to be an easy process. Listen to this. It is not won by the sweat of the brow. Frantically affirming, listening 24 hours, fighting against, wrote endless affirmations, trying to convince yourself, fighting, arguing with yourself, you're feeding it still. You're still feeding it. Indifference is what you're going for. Indifference. Turn your back. It will wither up and die on its own. Basically, what you want to do is do this as gently as you can. That's why it's in the book with Sats, where you're in a state akin to sleep. This is, you're in a relaxed state and you're thinking about what you want in a relaxed state. I don't know why so many people have such issues with Sats. They'll do anything else. You could do it sitting in your car for a few minutes. You could do it in a bathroom stall. You do it at home before you leave in the morning. You can do it at night before you fall asleep. It's not nice to shut things down at night and just have a few minutes to just get lost in a nice dreamy thing while you're drifting away for a little while. That's enjoyable, and it's not a visualization. We have to try to see everything exactly. It's just the nice story. Your mind knows it. Or it could be just saying, I know I am this. I know I am this. Gently. And yeah, you want to keep a mental diet, but even that should just be a shifting of thoughts. So you just find a way. That's why I use the I remember when, right? Something's in your 3D. The way to turn your back to it and resolve it without wrestling into the ground is not to flip something and try to pound it into your brain instantly. You can shift your thoughts in a gentle way with the I remember when whatever happens. I remember when that shitty thing happened. You're letting your mind know that you acknowledge it, you hear it, you see it. You're putting it aside really quick. That's it. I remember when that happened, and now everything is lovely, beautiful, perfect. I remember when that happened, and yeah, I remember when my SP broke up with me, but now, or I remember when my SP and I were not talking, but you know, now we just celebrated our second wedding anniversary and everything's amazing. That's it. And then go into gratitude and love for something else. I remember when, and now we're happy, and I can go back into that and think about that. If it's something that's particularly painful, I remember when, and now here we are, and they're busy home doing this. And you know what? I love that on my way home, I picked up the best food I've ever eaten in my life from this new family-owned restaurant that just opened up in town, and it was really nice to see. They were really excited. Make something up. Just tell yourself a story. Get creative. I don't care what it is. Literally, it could be anything. We are diverted very quickly. So you can very quickly and gently, without wrestling anything, still shift your thoughts and keep a mental diet. You're doing this for yourself. I promise you this is legit. I used to think that if you walked in your assumption, you would walk smack dab into your manifestation. And I take that back now because I noticed it's more like the sidewalk rolling and then coming up under your feet. You look around and you're like, when did have that? Like, I'm in it. Holy shit, I'm in it. Or part of it, right? Like, it's coming. Here it is. There's parts of it. I recognize it. I'm doing this. It's happening. And I know it's happening to you, and it's going to happen more and more. You're doing better than you think. Thanks for being here. We're going to do chapter 3 next, which is the foundation stone. So don't miss that. And don't forget, join us for the Thanksgiving gratitude workshops and all the holiday workshops we're going to have the rest of the year. You do not have to be alone. Follow on TikTok. If you need one-on-one coaching, which we all do at some point, I got you. But make sure you're part of the Facebook group, Manifesting Naturally. There's lives, there's updates. But most importantly, it is the best community you could imagine. Go be part of that.